You're waiting for a reply. Just one reply. A simple message you sent a few hours ago. At first, you don't think much about it. Maybe they're busy. Maybe they haven't seen it yet. But as time passes, something begins to happen. Your mind starts creating stories. Maybe they're upset with you. Maybe you said something wrong. Maybe they regret knowing you. Maybe the relationship is changing. Maybe this silence means something terrible. And suddenly, a missing text message has become a crisis. The strange thing is that you know this happens. You know your predictions are often wrong. You know many of your fears never come true. Yet your brain keeps doing it, again and again. Why? Why does your mind seem to love worst-case scenarios? Why does it automatically imagine disaster when there is little evidence that disaster exists? It feels irrational. But in a strange way, it isn't. Because your brain was not designed to make you happy. It was designed to keep you alive. And for most of human history, survival depended on one simple rule: assume danger first. Imagine you were walking through a forest thousands of years ago. You hear something moving in the bushes. You have two choices. You can assume it is harmless, or you can assume it is a threat. If you assume danger and you're wrong, you waste a little energy. If you assume safety and you're wrong, you might not survive. Over time, evolution favored cautious minds, not accurate minds, not optimistic minds, cautious minds. The ancient survival system is still inside you today. The world has changed. Your brain hasn't. The bushes are gone, the predators are mostly gone, but uncertainty remains. And your brain still responds to uncertainty the same way it always has, by imagining what could go wrong. That is why uncertainty feels so uncomfortable. Many people believe they fear bad outcomes, but often what they truly fear is not knowing. The human brain prefers a painful certainty over an endless question mark, because uncertainty prevents preparation, and preparation feels like safety. When your future is unclear, your mind starts searching. It scans possibilities, it runs simulations, it creates scenarios. And unfortunately, the scenarios that receive the most attention are usually the negative ones. Not because your brain enjoys suffering, because your brain is looking for threats. Think about it. If a pilot wanted to keep passengers safe, would they spend most of their time imagining perfect flights? Or would they focus on possible problems? Engine failure, bad weather, equipment issues. The purpose is not pessimism. The purpose is preparation. Your brain operates similarly. It treats negative possibilities like emergency drills. The problem is that modern life gives it endless material. A delayed message, a strange look from a coworker, a mistake during a presentation, a medical symptom, a financial concern, a social interaction. Every uncertainty becomes raw material for prediction, and prediction quickly turns into catastrophe. A friend seems distant. Your brain doesn't stop at maybe they're busy. It jumps ahead. They don't like me anymore. The boss wants to talk. Your brain doesn't stop at perhaps it's routine. It jumps ahead. I'm getting fired. You feel a headache. Your brain doesn't stop at I need water. It jumps ahead. Something is seriously wrong. The gap between reality and imagination can become enormous. Yet emotionally, those imagined disasters feel real. Because your nervous system responds to possibility, not certainty. If your brain believes something dangerous might happen, your body often reacts before any evidence appears. Your heart speeds up, your muscles tense, your attention narrows, your stress increases. The threat hasn't arrived, but your body is already preparing for it. This is why anxiety can feel so convincing. People often assume emotions follow facts, but many times emotions follow predictions. And when your prediction system is biased towards danger, fear can appear long before reality does. There's another reason worst-case scenarios are so powerful. They create an illusion of control. That sounds strange because worrying feels out of control. But beneath the surface, your brain is attempting something useful. If it can imagine every possible disaster, perhaps none of them will surprise you. Perhaps you can prepare. Perhaps you can stay safe. In other words, worrying often disguises itself as planning. The problem is that planning eventually reaches useful conclusions. Worrying does not. Planning asks, "What can I do?" Worrying asks, "What else could go wrong?" One creates action, the other creates loops, and your brain can spend hours trapped inside those loops. There's also something deeply personal happening. Worst-case scenarios are rarely random. They often target what matters most to you. If you value relationships, your fears often involve rejection. If you value success, your fears often involve failure. If you value health, your fears often involve illness. Your anxiety reveals your attachments. The mind protects what it loves, sometimes clumsily, sometimes excessively, but often with good intentions. This is why two people can face the same uncertainty and react completely differently. One person sees a challenge, another sees a catastrophe. The event is identical, the meaning is different, and meaning shapes emotion. Yet here's the paradox. The more your brain practices imagining disasters, the more believable they become. Each mental rehearsal strengthens the pathway. Each replay makes the scenario feel familiar, and familiarity creates the illusion of probability. You start thinking, if I can imagine it so clearly, maybe it will happen. But imagination is not evidence. The human brain can create vivid experiences for events that never occur. It does it every day. Think about how many terrible outcomes you've imagined throughout your life. Now think about how many actually happened. For most people, the number is surprisingly small. The mind is often a poor fortune teller, yet an excellent storyteller. And stories are powerful, especially when they involve fear. Fear captures attention. Fear demands action. Fear refuses to be ignored. That is why negative possibilities often dominate your mental landscape. They shout while positive possibilities whisper. But there is a counterintuitive truth hidden beneath all of this. The goal is not to eliminate worst-case scenarios. Your brain will always generate them. That's part of being human. The problem is to change your relationship with them. Instead of treating every frightening thought as a prediction, you can treat it as a possibility. A possibility is not a prophecy. A scenario is not a certainty. A thought is not reality. And when you remember that, something changes. The fear may still appear. The image may still enter your mind. The disaster movie may still begin playing, but you no longer hand it complete authority. You no longer assume it is telling the future. You recognize what it really is, an ancient survival system trying to protect you, a brain scanning for danger, a mind attempting to reduce uncertainty. Not because disaster is inevitable, but because survival once depended on caution. And perhaps the most important realization is this: your brain does not imagine worst-case scenarios because it wants you to fail. It imagines them because it wants you to survive. The problem is that the world it evolved for no longer exists. You are not standing in a dangerous forest. You are answering emails, sending messages, building relationships, living modern life with an ancient alarm system. So the next time your mind jumps from a small problem to a massive catastrophe, pause for a moment. Notice what is happening. Notice the prediction. Notice the story. Notice the ancient machinery trying to keep you safe. And then ask yourself a simple question. If this isn't the future, what if it's just my brain doing what brains have always done? Because most of the disasters that visit your mind never arrive in reality, but the fear feels real anyway, and understanding why may be the first step towards taking away its power.